The three silent masters of Russian film. The first one, Alexander Dovzhenko. The second, V.I. Pudovkin. And the third, Sergei Eisenstein. Alexander Dovzhenko. Three major silent films: Zeningola 1928, Arsenal 1929, and Earth 1930. He was a painter and used the techniques of painting in film also. He used still shots, light shot of trees heavy laden with the fruits to show the timeliness. The West considered his works as the most aesthetically advanced and poetic. Through his films, he tried to put forward his philosophy and faith in life. In one film, he said the death of an old man because of an old age he is right, while death of a young man by violence is wrong, and death is followed by life. Earth was considered as film with evolutionary content by West, but Joseph Stalin and Communist Party and followers termed it as defeatist and counter-revolutionary. He used camera wise fully than other masters who depended more on editing. He could cope with the advent of sound also. His famous sound movies were Ivan 1932, Air God 1935. V.I. Pudovkin. His famous silent movies were First Mother 1926, based on Maxim Gorky's novel The End of St. Petersburg 1927, Storm over Asia 1928. With his teacher Kuleshov, he experimented in montage and reached to the conclusion that montage is for linkage as building blocks of narration. He wrote theoretical essays, film technique and film acting. They remain among the best texts for beginning Dassault's experiment intended in documentary. Sergei Eisenstein. The term montage is always connected with Sergei Eisenstein. He is considered to be the master filmmaker in Soviet Russia. After education, he started as designer for prolet cult theater. He was fascinated by Japanese language and culture. In Japanese hieroglyphic writing, the word weeping is formed by combining the pictograph for eye with water, singing mouth and bird, listening ear and door. This influenced Eisenstein while making his concepts related to montage. His first film was Strike 1925. The film dealt with the revolt of working class. The villains were capitalist people. Following the same path, his second film, Battleship Potemkin 1925, became synonyms to Russian films and montage. Like Strike, Battleship Potemkin too told the story of revolt of people, working class. In Strike, the villains were capitalists, while in Potemkin they were white guards, Cossacks and officers. The heroes were working class who finally resorted to violence to counter the oppression. The working class were portrayed as the most protective resource of the nation and only democratic force. The film is about the revolution aroused in a battleship named Potemkin. The workers are treated as worms and the food served is meager. The immediate cause for the revolt is food served one day is too tender that it contained worms. The workers react and it becomes violent. At the end of revolution, the workers capture the control of the ship and start their journey to the shores. At shore, people gather to see this unusual view when suddenly the soldier of Tsar open fire at them. The reaction to the firing also becomes revolutionary as a mass movement is formed. At the sea, when the ship meets other ship, initially the workers prepare themselves for a battle. But a white flag welcomes them and they come to know that the revolution has been spread to the ship too. Potemkin has 5 sequences. The first one, human and worms. Second, the drama at Quarter Duck. The third, the dead seek revenge. The fourth one, Utesa stabs. The fifth one, the enemy ship. This film is considered to be the best example for montage. The film theory which predicts that by comparing two shots, one can make a different meaning that the first, second along or their combination cannot bring in. There are different situations in the film to understand this theory. At Odysseus' steps, when the soldiers open firing at the ordinary people, one boy gets hurt among several others, and his mother takes him her hand and moves towards the soldiers. Other people who too are hurt join her. It becomes a mass movement. There, the director intercuts the downward movements of the soldiers with the upward movements of the mass. It also shows the faces of the hurt people. This can be interpreted as a fall of soldiers, thus that of Tsar, and the rise of class. Similarly, to show the gigantic nature of battleship, the director intercuts small objects like the goggles of a doctor and the ropes with the big hull of the ship cutting the water. The famous example for montage, often quoted by film lovers, is a three-shot of a lion in a lazy mood. The lion suddenly springs up and the lion roaring in its full mouth. The three shots together don't mean a lion has jumped up to full energy, but the meaning is that the working class who were in centuries-long sleep finally understand their strength started revolting. His next film, October, or 10 Days That Shook the World, 1928, marks the height of his intellectual montage. But his early experimentation led to the recutting of it by the Communist Party and can be considered as fragmentary masterpiece. For a short while, if he joins Mexican Film Trust, a corporation founded by US socialist writers Upton Sinclair. After his return, he made some sound movies. Alexander Nevsky in 1938, which got international and domestic prize, and Ivan the Terrible, 1945, Part First, which was hailed for its political and ideological correctness. But Part Second infuriates Stalin, was banned while the footages of Part Third were destroyed. Montage. Montage came from French language, monter, which means to mount. For Pudovkin, it is a linkage, joining of shots for gradual accumulation of narrative meaning. A plus B is equal to AB to help narration to get an extra meaning. For Eisenstein, A plus B is equal to C. Knife plus heat is equal to sorrow. There are 5 types of montage: metric, rhythmic, tonal, overtonal, and intellectual. He believed that visual counterpoints can be developed by conflict of light and dark, small and large mass, or movements in opposite direction. Recalling his experiment with Kuleshov, Pudovkin says that the duty of the director begins at the editing table. According to him, film creation equals the first, what is in the shot; the second, order; the third, how long, that is, quick shot injects excitement while long shot creates soothing. To be able to find the order and the rhythm is a chief task of the director, and this art he terms as montage, constructive editing. For Eisenstein, its function is to achieve a shock, the banging together of contrasting shots in a way that would force the audience into an understanding greater than the sum and the difference from any one of its parts. In his opinion, montage is an idea that arises from collision of independent shots, shots even opposite to one another. Though opposite in theories, both Pudovkin and Eisenstein use others' version of montage in their films. Montage helped them to use non-actors or to replace or cover unsatisfactory performances. This possibility led to theories of a typage of choosing people who looked the part regardless of their thespian skills. Another characteristic of montage is using real people opposite to actors and actual location opposite to studio. Finally, the story depends on script. Eisenstein used to sketch the script.